I created a fantasy language for my upcoming YA novel, The Omen Girl, and I want to talk about it. So growing up and reading Aragon, one of my favorite things about that series was the fantasy language. And I know that that language was heavily inspired by Tolkien, but obviously even just a cursory glance and I knew that there was no way that I can ever achieve that level of complexity and depth. Another challenge, specific challenge that I have for my fantasy language is that this isn't exactly a language that people write with or communicate with. Ultimately, it's a language that's meant to be flown in the sky. So in my novel, there is something called the Decade Race, which is this magical race that happens once every 10 years. And the way that people participate in this race is by bonding with a magical star, and then they fly on these magical boards, basically called anchors. The boards look very similar to calligraphy brush bristles. Anchors are powered by the stars, and what comes out of it is ichor, basically the blood of the stars, or stardust. Using that stardust, the whistlers or the flyers, they fly out lines, they fly out magical calligraphy lines in the sky that cast spells depending on the line that you've drawn. This language is called star song. I do want to dive into what a star song will actually sound like, so I will do another video on that. So that was a challenge that I had to grapple with because I couldn't necessarily go with like a runic route or even like some sort of a logographic route or like a hieroglyphic route, right? Like those systems have too many breaks, too many strokes, too much complexity. As a flying system, it just makes it really difficult. And that's when I came across something called koi lang or koi writing. It's by someone called Koa, I believe. It's comprised of koi drawings and ripples, and it is so magical. It was smooth and beautiful and visual. That's exactly what star song needs as its base. It needs to be fluid, it needs to be visual and connective. As I researched some more, I finally came upon something called the unalome or unalomi, depending on how you pronounce it. It is a spiritual symbol with deep roots in Buddhism and Hinduism. It represents the path to enlightenment. People get tattoos of it all the time. The moment I saw it, I was like, yes, this is exactly what the star song needs to look like. It looks like a single line almost, which means that it's very, very doable to fly. So this is what I came up with. This is the star song version of the word bird song. In the ancient dialect, it would be called ear agnia instead of bird song. So I divided it into 3 sections. The beginning form consists of like dots and breaks and circles and pops and things like that. Middle forms consists entirely of the little loops, the kind of infinity loops. And then the ending form consists of very large swirls, very large flourishes and curves. Visually speaking, the big flourish is the big hello, I am here of the visual aspect. So I realized very quickly that that couldn't be the end of a word. So I needed to write everything backwards. But even though you are flying words backwards, the first section is still called the beginning form because that's where you're starting. I've explained this to so many people, but I still feel like I do such a terrible job at it. So this is the alphabet. But as you can see, it's not laid out in the traditional English alphabet of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It is based very heavily on Pinyin, which is the romanization system used to learn Mandarin. It's what I grew up with as a kid sitting in class. B, P, M, F, D, T, N, L is always said all the time. So let's show you guys what I mean. According to Google, one of the most common English female names in Canada and the US is Olivia. So let's do Olivia. So A would be the beginning form, and then O would be the ending form. So we're gonna start with A, dot, 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 circle. And then we have 4 loops. And another beautiful circle, followed by a dot. Okay, let's go back and read the actual letters with the little gaps. Ta-da! Here we are. Let's do the next most popular name, guy name, which is Liam. So M would be the beginning form and L would be the ending form. So we're gonna start with M, circle, dot, dot, and only 2 loops. Followed by a spikier curve and the circle. Let's do one last one. This one I'm just gonna do, and I want you guys to figure out what I spelled. Yeah. looks very beautiful. So that's the gist of Star Song. It is a very visual, flyable, calligraphy-inspired language. It has its own kind of associated music with it because you fly it in the sky, and as you're flying it in the sky, it sings, hence why it's called Star Song. I had a lot of fun creating this. I felt very challenged, but in a good way. Ultimately, I love that I was able to incorporate so many aspects of my own culture, of calligraphy, of pinging, and just the meaning of this symbol, the fact that it is a spiritual symbol. At its core, the story is a very spiritual story, the story of enlightenment, of reaching an understanding of the self and of the world and of love. So thank you for tuning in. It's been half an hour now. I'm gonna go edit this video. I will see you guys in the next one.